Basically our belief system colors our perception, and our perception colors the reality that we see. That is what is the learning from coming from quantum physics, where it says that the observer, who is observing the phenomena, influences the phenomena that is being observed. Electrons are not neutral entities. They are behaving according to the expectations of the observer. So that is a very classic quantum physics experiment which has proved that the observation process itself influences the behavior of the electrons. And electrons, why they are relevant? Because actually it is the subatomic particles and their movement, which gives rise to the apparent phenomenon of the physical universe. That is what quantum physics is telling us, that if you take an electron microscope and look at any chair, for example, or any table, you will not see the chair or the table. The chair will vanish, and what you will be seeing is the vast space in that place, and in that space some subatomic particles are periodically arising and disappearing, and it's a very very weird kind of thing that we will experience, because there's no chair, there's no table. That is what we are used to perceiving, but instead we will have a perception of a certain quantum space in that subatomic particles are appearing and disappearing. And the subatomic particles are like electrons, protons, electrons, and even leptons and quarks and whatnot. Very very minute subatomic particles, and so this is what you will see. So when we remove the electron microscope, again we see the table or the chair in the same place. So the question arises, from where is this chair coming, or from where is the table coming? Because when I look at the reality in a very microscopic level, there is no chair, there is no table. So it is very apparent that table or a chair which we are using and perceiving and also taking for granted is apparition or something. It's a trick or a magic trick or something. Because how come this subatomic particle movement is giving rise to the perception of a chair? So is my brain deceiving me? Are my eyes deceiving me? Or who is deceiving whom? What is the point in having a chair or a table? Is there intentionality? I'm raising many questions now, which the movie has not raised apparently, but I am raising for our deeper exploration. So let's say that the world is random. Let's say I give a hypothesis. The whole universe is random. These chairs, these tables, this Neha, this Sachit, this Raj, Rajiv, Neha, all are random. Just like that, because some people tended to argue like that earlier, before quantum physics came on the scene, that it's all random and somehow life arose in this universe and on this planet, and there are no laws which govern the life, and simply it's be all free for all. Basically, you live as you are prone to living, and whatever you like you do. There are no consequences of behavior and such stuff. Morality is redundant and religion is redundant and all that. So I'm trying to bundle everything into the same basket. Let's say I'm raising this question, that I'm just telling hypothetically that let's assume that there is a random universe. This table just happens to arise out of the quantum space. Now, does that satisfy your inner being, that could it be? And okay, one table is randomly appearing out of the emptiness, but there are so many tables and so many chairs, and they seem to have a certain color, shape, texture. We can differentiate between silk and cotton and jute, for example. It's very very distinct texture, shape, size, everything, color. So all that is random. It is all appearing from quantum space, but all that is random. So let's say I am speculating like that. Then do you agree with that speculation? If yes, why? If not, why? It's a very important question to raise. If you accept the hypothesis, you live in another one way. If you don't accept the hypothesis, then it takes you to a deeper exploration. What could be the purpose behind tables, chairs, cotton, jute, and all that?
It's a deep question, sir. But as you are asking this, I think it is. I don't agree that it is random. Probably, I'm starting to think in this lines that it might not necessarily be random, but like the movie also explains that at an atomic level, everything is in a superposition, and only the observer, when the observation happens, it takes either A, B, or any one of those positions. It could be any position, but it takes that one position in the reality when the observation is being done. So, for example, the chair, a particular silk or whatever that we are seeing, it is for a certain kind of a purpose, but we are giving shape and meaning and everything to it. And I think if that is the case, then this gives a lot of explanation to how even manifestation works, how various aspects of our life work in complete influence of the observer. And along with this question, if I'm sorry if I'm adding another question because it has been in my mind about the scalability of everything. For example, when we talk about quantum physics, we are bringing it down to a very minute atomic level and trying to see that at the atomic level, everything is in superposition. There's a lot of entanglement as a possibility, and all these aspects that came out. But if we scale, for example, they gave an example of certain cells within our body. Each and every cell is a conscious individual itself. So, but then when I was thinking about it, if that cell is a conscious individual, but me also being a conscious, I'm controlling this body, mind, and three entities that we have, then it means that the scale keeps going above as well as below. So if the scale keeps going above, does it mean that this universe at in whole, if I consider that, if I am a particular cell, considering me as a cell, and we all are just those individual cells, like how a particular organ has a certain function and purpose, our earth has a certain purpose and function, other planets, other galaxies have a certain function. It could all be one entity of one particular being. And it's beyond my possible perception at all when I started thinking about these questions that
Yeah, but these questions do arise in our mind, right? Because if there are 50 trillion cells in my body,
yeah,
and these 50 trillion cells, each one of them has an individual existence and entity and identity.
yeah,
A liver cell behaves like a liver cell, and a kidney cell behaves like a kidney cell, isn't it? So they have identity. It's as if liver cell. Let's say liver is India and kidney is Pakistan. So the liver cells identify themselves as Indians, and kidney cells identify themselves as Pakistanis, and they behave accordingly. In a way, I'm giving a very crude metaphor, but there is an individuality, there is an identity, there is a certain functionality, there is a certain peculiarity to each cell. So it goes that level. So as Sachit is saying, if my cell is a part of me, so for the cell entity, I am like a God entity.
yeah.
Like that. Similarly, there may be a God entity for which, forget God, there may be Earth entity of which we are cells. If we look at Earth itself, they call it Gaia, no? Earth, also is worshipped as a goddess. In the West, she was called as the Mother Gaia. Gaia is Earth as a goddess. So maybe the goddess Earth, if she is a super being and we all are a part of her body, so it makes sense because with Earth as the one entity, one planetary entity, deity, we could be a part of her body. So from that perspective, Sachit and Neha and Rajiv and Raj are playing their own role in the larger story that Earth is trying to unfold on the planet. It could be like that. Could it be that Earth herself is evolving through us? Could it be that Earth itself has higher potentials that will be manifested with us achieving our higher potentials? So what I'm trying to say, if you discard the view that the quantum space is giving rise to the planet or to the galaxies, randomly, if you discard that hypothesis, I don't know, that is what you have told. You don't discard this hypothesis. I would like to hear other people, Raj and Neha. Okay, Sachit believes it's not random, and then he shared certain thoughts. So let us proceed. So what he's telling is we could be part of a larger entity as cells, right? So if that is the case, then what is the purpose of the larger entity? And am I playing my dharma or playing my role properly as a cell in that entity? Now, if you start thinking like Sachit is thinking, your ego will become very whittled down. Your personal will also be blended with a perception of or a speculation of the divine will or that divine entity's will of whose body we are a part. You start to contemplate what God wants from me. If you start thinking like Sachit is thinking. Because if it is not a random universe, and there is so much complexity, so much beauty in this universe, that it is very difficult to accept that it is random. Don't you think so? I think so. And also one question is raised that see, you know very well that you are not creating your body in this moment, Raj. Am I right or wrong? Or
You're
are
right.
you a hidden one God? You're creating your body. I'm not creating my body. I may be quantum space, but I'm not manifesting my body consciously.
Yep.
I'm not doing it. I'm sure you also are in the same situation. Am I right?
Agree with you, sir.
So who is manifesting my body from that quantum soup? Someone is doing it. I am not doing it.
Yep.
So who is that someone or what is that something? So it is very clear that there is an intelligent manifestation called Rajiv. And same with Raj, same with Neha, same with Sachit. But Rajiv is not doing it, Neha is not doing it. Who is doing it on our behalf? Someone is doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at me with electron microscope, I will disappear. Only quantum space will, quantum soup will be visible. So who is manifesting Rajiv out of that soup? I am not, Rajiv is not doing it. So who is doing it? That is another question which is raised. It's a very deep thing. No, what the bleep do we know? It raises many deep questions. They can't raise so many questions because the movie will become, long, 30 hours long. If we start exploring seriously. But that is my job, to raise these questions so that our consciousness expands. Right? So who is doing it? I'm not doing it. So someone is doing it, because when an event is there has to be a cause. And cause is not me or my volition or my will. And if this quantum space is just a space without any intelligence, it can't be doing it. Inert entity can't be doing it. And I'm sure electrons by themselves are not that intelligent, that they by themselves will manifest this body. There is something behind this show. The movement of the subatomic particles produces the body. That is very much true. How you can explain it scientifically is the subatomic particles, they move in the quantum field in such a pattern, such a unique pattern, that a table is created which is red in color. If you change the pattern, the table may change into a chair and may become green. So the real, magic behind the apparent shape, size, and color is the pattern of the movement of the subatomic particles. So idea is that the subatomic particles are not fixed in nature; they are in a superposition, not in actual position. They manifest out of nothingness in a certain position. But to manifest a chair from the quantum field, the subatomic particles are appearing and moving in a certain set pattern. Okay, so how is that possible? Is that space having some memory? That is one explanation which I have been thinking about it for many years. So my one answer is that each space that we see, which represents one particular object, let's say this chair is one particular space. I mean, there is space, and out of that there are many units of space. So one unit is chair, and that unit has a certain memory, and that memory is what is playing the game. The electrons appear and disappear using that memory. That could be one explanation. So if we accept this explanation, then we don't need to bother about God. So, but then it is a very weird explanation, because that again brings this question that how can there be so many separate fields, each with their own memory, and without any entanglement or without any interconnectedness? Because the way we experience life, it seems like a dance. Everything seems to be interconnected. Is it not? For example, I change my nature little bit for the better. I become little bit more milder and sweeter and more wiser. And out of nowhere, I get a job offer in a better company with a better prospect, with a better boss, with better colleagues. Such synchronicities happen, right? So if we are only working out of memory, all of us, the particular space which is manifesting us is only working out of memory, then why changing me is leading to my changed circumstances? That shows at a deeper level, there is some deeper intelligence which is connecting different quantum fields. So in different ways, if we think and look at life in its totality, it seems to me that it is not random. Because if it is random, then what explains Carl Gustav Jung's synchronicity? Which I just explained, synchronicity, one example. I work upon myself and my circumstances change. It seems some divinity is blessing me. We call it grace. So, so we can introduce the idea of grace now. So this grace is experienced by many people. I am experiencing grace. Maybe you are experiencing grace. Neha was telling she is experiencing grace. She was looking for something and suddenly this class has started. Neha had said. So what explains this grace? So a lot of blabbering I have done. Now, you people take it forward. Raj, now, so I gave my thoughts, right?
Yeah, sir.
Thing is, if you let me talk, I will talk for too long.
In the same, sorry if I'm interrupting. In the same context which you were sharing, I was also thinking on, for example, the aspect about free will also, right? For example, me as an individual person, like you said, if I'm working towards, betterment or being better, being a better person, all these good, better qualities, like you said, synchronicities happen. I was thinking it even, for example, because it was all about atomic and everything, I was thinking about my own body. For example, I was asking a question that, for example, if I'm making better food choices, the bacteria, we are made up of so many things that it is so astonishing. So, for example, the bacteria in my stomach, if I've had a lot of oil, sugary or fast food and everything, there are certain bacteria that get formed in the stomach. They keep craving for that kind of food only until it is sent off of the body. But say that I, as a human being, at my level of consciousness, I make a choice that no, I want to make better food choices. I repeatedly choose a certain better food instead of fast food. I have a other kind of meal. So then those bacteria kind of it stops its requirements. It might go away from the stomach because it is no more craving this same fast food. And there are other bacteria which will continue its own function of the stomach. The whatever the functions of the stomach is, that will continue. The question that I was asking is, if we are also that small at an individual, like I spoke about the scale, which I was talking about, the scale is same even upper and even below. Like when we're going at a scale of smaller levels of, for example, at a cell or a bacteria or the stomach. So what is happening here? Because of my choice of being better, changes are happening at an individual consciousness of that cell also being able to have a better evolution. So there are two ways to look at this. Like the questions that you were asking. One, I'm seeing that because I'm making a better choice, probably evolution is happening even within my systems. Second, if I'm reversing the scale, for example, if the bacteria, I don't know, I'm asking this question, if the individual cells are trying to evolve, trying to become better, trying to go at their higher potential, that okay, this is a better potential to live into their own fullest highest potential of that function of that stomach or whatever individual parts that we're talking about. When they are making those choices, it also is making me make that choice. That question is not, we are not very able to make that connection because probably there are two truths, there are two parallels here. The movie speaks about it, or even I'm thinking about it, that when there are always, like, superposition always exists. There are also, they speak about this multiverse kind of an explanation also in between in a very, very small, brief way, but they don't deep dive into it. Possibly that if me as an individual, if I'm choosing a better choice, because at an atomic level, everything is existing in all possibilities. When I choose a better possibility, I observe the reality and manifestation of a better possibility. If I choose B, I'm into that possibility of being in observance of B instead of A. So similarly, it can be for the stomach also. Though I made the choice of choosing a better food habit, but the evolution within the individual aspects of my cells, for them it is immediately changing to betterment. But it doesn't mean that they didn't make the choice and the super consciousness made the choice. It's very confusing. I'm not able to explain it.
I'll help you. Basically, shall I share what I'm...
Yes.
So actually what happens is, see, we say law of karma, right? So in a way, what you are doing is trying to grapple with the law of karma at atomic level, cellular level, and your level, between Sachit and his cells, right? So see, why Sachit is a higher entity is because Sachit has more intelligence, conscious intelligence. Sachit can make these choices, but cells generally don't make choices. They are the basically recipients of your choices. For example, if you eat pizza, your stomach cells will have to digest pizza. They have no other choice. And if you eat, simple, kanji rice, your stomach will have to, stomach cells will have to digest kanji rice. So whether the stomach cells will digest kanji rice or pizza is not a function of their choice, a function of Sachit's choice. So in a way, your stomach cells are trapped in Sachit's body because whatever Sachit chooses to eat, they are destined to digest those materials. So in a way, in terms of hierarchy, you are higher entity, they are the lower entity. But it not doesn't end there. Law of karma takes over after that. As you start making a one choice, one type of food choice repeatedly over time, your cells become predisposed to enjoying those types of food. Because for example, tongue cells, they like that taste, so they crave that taste. Stomach cells like that, so they crave that. And since certain bacteria may arise which crave that particular junk food, so they crave. So all these cravings of 30 trillion cells and 20 trillion bacteria forces Sachit to look for a pizza and eat it. Sachit thinks I am eating pizza, but actually he's being compelled to eat pizza by these 30 trillion cells and 20 trillion bacteria. No, it is a funny thing I'm saying, but it is happening. That is law of karma. Your actions in the past are forcing you to perpetuate the same actions even if they are spoiling your health. You develop hepatitis and doctor says you have to stop eating pizza, but you can't stop it now because 30 trillion cells are forcing you to eat that. But then how the cells became so unruly? Because of your choices that you made. That is law of karma. So today, Earth is unleashing tornadoes and is heating up like anything. And recently, some United Nations official told it's no longer a Earth which is becoming warmer. It is a Earth which is now starting to boil. It's no longer warming, global boiling now. America is suffering heat wave. Europe is suffering heat wave now. 43, 44 degrees temperature in America, unprecedented. In America, can you imagine? These people are white and they don't have melanin in their skin. They can't tolerate that heat. Many burn injuries are happening on road in America right now. So, is it possible that Earth is now, forced to do all these things because the individual cells in the Earth body, like us, we are making wrong choices? Collective consciousness of Earth itself has become wild and it is going berserk now. We don't know. I mean, is Earth a static and a reactive entity which is simply trying to maintain homeostasis? Or is Earth an angry deity which is trying to take revenge and finish humanity? I have no answer. I don't know. But these are speculations. But one thing is for sure, that our choices is affecting Earth's choices. Just like your stomach cells choices is affecting your choice to eat pizza or not. But no, to give you my thoughts on this, I feel that it is not Earth's fault. I feel, Earth was a planet where we were meant to evolve, and we were meant to come. We means humans. And the role of the humans was to make Earth more beautiful and, more heavenly. But for some reason, we are not able to do that. Maybe it was meant to be that we will, have some kind of experiment with materialistic tendencies for some time, and then one day realize its repercussions, which we are facing now as global, ecological crisis and moral crisis. And then we can collectively take a lesson from that and go back to a more healthier lifestyle at collective level where we don't repeat that mistake. So to take my logic to a conclusion, basically what I personally believe and also experience in my meditation is that we are part spirit and part matter and part mind. We are all three. We are part spirit, which is eternal, immutable, transcendent, and immortal. We are part flesh, which is physical aspect, and we are part mind, which is the interplay between the spirit and the materialistic reality that we experience. So the mind basically reacts to the experience that it is having, and it also reacts in terms of making choices to the experience it is having, and those choices further color future experiences. That is what this movie is telling, that our role is also significant in manifestation. As we think, so we experience. As we feel, so we experience. There's a book called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne that also says the same thing. what you are believing in your heart is manifesting in your reality. So, it's a very important thing to ponder that what is our responsibility in producing the reality that we are experiencing. So, it is very interesting, cell versus body, cell versus Sachit, and me versus earth, and earth versus me, and where it takes us. So what I'm trying to say is that this movie raises these questions that shall we continue living in the same way as we have been living unconsciously, or shall we see the interconnectedness of the entire universe, entire planet, and understand our responsibility that we have to be, as an individual cell in the earth's body, responsible, so that earth can start to heal. Okay, so that we can see a new epoch unfolding on earth. Because what we choices we make will affect our future generations also. It's not only Sachit, it's also Sachit's baby. Sachit will leave a legacy for his baby, isn't it? So what kind of a planet you want to leave behind for your baby? That is also a very deep question.